Thank you, thank you. So let me tell you about a typical strategy session I often do. I'm at the client's office in front of a big table, and the client's team is gathered around that table. And we're discussing their business goals and their target groups. And I always show them some examples. Examples of great websites, beautiful apps, cool campaigns, and the latest new business models. And then it happens. There's always this one guy that says to me, hey, don't use examples outside of our industry, but use examples from our own business. And by that he means that, like, if they are a movie theater, he doesn't want me to use examples of a car manufacturer. And this really frustrates me. For one, because I put some effort in finding these examples and he doesn't like them. But there's another thing, and a more important thing, the thing why I'm telling you this. And that's because he's wrong. He's just wrong. You should use examples outside of your industry and not from your own industry. Of course, I'll tell you why. If I would use examples from your own industry, then that example would be your competitor. And I like beautiful or good examples, so that competitor is really doing better than you are. And if I would use that example, and if your competitor is really doing better than you are, then you would already be defeated. And, you know, they have win and you have lost. So that's why I use these examples. The reason why, or what I want is, I don't want you to be defeated. I want you to win. I want my clients to win. And the thing is, you know, I want my clients to innovate and to think of new products and new services. And I don't want my clients to fine-tune yesterday's business model, but I want them to innovate and to think of the business model of tomorrow. So why is this guy nagging, I think it's nagging, about these examples? Well, he's afraid. He is afraid that, well, he might not understand my example, or he might not understand that business of the example I'm using. Or, you know, if the example is like a really big thing, he might be afraid that in his business or in his company, he has to do a lot of things, and it takes a lot of effort to do that. Or he might just be afraid about what his colleagues or his boss will think of it. So it's fear. Well, fear, everybody's got some. And it's that feeling that's inside of you, that's in your stomach or in your head. And it is this fear that keeps us away from our successes, from our victories. And you have to fight this fear. You have to think as if this fear is your enemy. This fear is your dragon. And you have to fight that dragon. You have to slay this dragon. And I think that you have to see yourself as a knight. You know, put your armor on, get your sword, and slay that dragon. But I want to tell you that I'm not using the word dragon only because it sounds cool. You know, it sounds cool, but there's another reason. I think in business you really have to do these frightful things to gain success. It's not a battlefield, but you have to do frightful things. Okay. I've got, in business you have to do these frightful things. So you have to slay this dragon. And by coincidence, I know the 3 rules to slay a dragon. And these are the rules. So the first rule is strike at the right moment. The second rule is watch your back. And the third rule is choose the right weapons. And I'm going to explain these 3 rules with 3 examples. And these 3 examples are probably outside of your business and may question in what business you are. First example, Netflix. Most people know Netflix because they're a streaming video service. You know, you can watch a movie on your smart TV or on your Apple TV. But Netflix actually started as a DVD subscription service. So you could order a DVD or a movie and it was sent to you on a DVD in this big red envelope. And after you watched it, you can send it back and, well, order a new one. And in 2005, Netflix really looked the dragon in his eyes. And they saw that the DVD market or the DVD wouldn't exist for long. So in 2007, they started a streaming service. And you know, they got all the money they earned with these DVDs and put that in building and investing this streaming video service. And in 2007, they had more than 7 million subscribers for DVD and online media, online video. And now they have more than 48 million subscribers. So they're doing very well. Blockbuster, their bigger and biggest competitor, started with video streaming in 2009. You know, their night wasn't as bold as the Netflix. Their night followed Netflix. They didn't took that fight with that dragon. And so they were just 2 years later. But Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore. They went bankrupt. So what Netflix did is really, really big. You know, they turned around a big company, so not a small startup, but they turned around a big company from one side to another. And, well, that's one thing. But I think the biggest thing that they did was taking that decision in 2005. That was the right moment. They struck the dragon at the right moment. Rule number 2, example number 2. A few months ago, I talked to this guy, and this guy was the strategic advisor of the board of directors of ING Insurance. And he told me that ING isn't afraid of their current competitors. You know, their current competitors are in front of them, they know them very well, they act as slow as they do, they think as traditional as they do. And he said, we're not afraid of them. We're afraid of the new kids on the block. And he told me that one of those new kids on the block is Google. You've got, like for instance in the UK, Google Insurance. And Google Insurance partners with local insurers to offer you these insurances. What I think is interesting that ING, which is really big, is afraid of that even bigger Google. But if you ask Google where they are afraid of, then they say, we are afraid of 2 guys in a garage inventing the next big thing. So it's really interesting that that big Google is, well, afraid of that the smallest corporation you can imagine. So the lesson here, is, I think, is, you know, your competitors, don't watch only your competitors that are in front of you, that you know, but maybe they're behind you, and they may be big or they might be slow, but watch your back. Right. Third example. I love this example. Amazon, well known, they started selling books. And they started, or now they sell, well, not only books, but they sell like shoes, toilet seats, everything. And at one moment, they looked the dragon in his eyes too. And they said, okay, what are the things we are really, really good at? And they said we are good at two things. Had to happen. Amazon, nah. So they were good at two things. One, managing a web shop, designing and building this website. And two, managing the logistical process of getting that book to you. And they said, okay, if we're good at this, if this is our business, then selling books isn't our business. And they said, okay, if selling books isn't our business, booksellers aren't our competition. And why don't we invite these booksellers to our store so they can sell books via our store? So they did that. And now if you go to Amazon.com, you're searching for the biggest catalog or through the biggest catalog in the world, and you almost always find what you're looking for. And their presumed competition, those booksellers, if you partner with Amazon, you instantly have access to the whole world. You have a worldwide shop, instantly. And Amazon is doing really well too, because they have the highest revenue and everybody talks about them. So what they did was looking at their armory and said, okay, these are the weapons, the two weapons we're really, really good at. And these are the weapons we're not so good at. We give them to our allies, our presumed competition. And together we're going to slay that dragon. So choose your weapons wisely. Again, the 3 rules. Strike at the right moment, watch your back, and choose the right weapon. Those are the rules. And I hope that you'll see that these rules will question in which industry you are. And I hope that these rules will, make you feel a little bit more courageous in slaying that dragon. And, he's looking a little bit more afraid now, after now you know these rules. But there's another thing, how to start this fight. You have to start somewhere. And by coincidence, I know how to start this fight. I think that you have to imagine that tomorrow your CEO comes to you and says to you, okay, we have to grow to increase sales by 1,000% in 3 months. And if you don't realize that, if you don't do that, then we will go bankrupt and you and anyone else will lose their job. I think you have to start there. And, when your primal fear ebbs away and you're thinking of these ideas to tackle these 1,000%, start with those ideas and plan a brainstorm with your team on that. And start your fight there. So, slay your dragon. Thank you.